You know, call me crazy, but I'm of the opinion that if you're watching a movie that is very obviously kind of a discount dollar store version of a significantly better film that you've seen before, I believe that that doesn't necessarily make the film you're watching automatically bad. But I mean, that's just me, and what the hell do I know, right? Cue the music. Hey, what's up everybody? How's it going? How you doing today? Welcome back. And today's film we're talking about is called The Beast. And I'm not saying this to be mean to the filmmakers in any way, but the movie really did feel like kind of a lesser version of like a Taken or maybe like a John Wick. Like it had the same seeds that those movies kind of came from. But despite the fact that the movie did have some good roots to work with, it also felt like a small portion of the tree just kind of wilted apart and died a little bit. Either that or it just didn't mature properly and just ended up growing and looking all warped. You know what? Whatever metaphor you're comfortable with, just go with that. I think you get the idea. But anywho, the basic plot of the movie is it's about a dad who is an ex-military officer, and he's been through some stuff. Meanwhile, back home in Italy, where he's from, I can gather that it seems like his family is a little bit estranged from him. And one night, him and his wife arrange for their two children to come have dinner with just the dad. So the son, who looks to be about 20 years old-ish, is driving the smaller daughter, who's like kind of elementary school age, and while he's on his way there, somehow the girl gets kidnapped. And much like Liam Neeson, the dad finds out, and then he tries to find out what happened, and he tracks down the people that took his daughter. So again, very much like the movie Taken, and it is like kind of a discount version of it. But at the same time, it was also still kind of a fun story, and I like the overall vibe that the movie kind of gave off. The Beast is kind of the nickname that was given to the dad from his military service because at a certain point he just like turns into a rage monster, essentially. And there's actually a lot of aspects about this movie that are particularly well done. It's just, it ended up being woven together extremely loosely to the point where it like hindered my enjoyment a little bit. The overall vibe and the tone was very, very well established very early in the movie, and that was consistent throughout the entire thing. Like, they do a really good job of like pointing out to you, without actually saying it, that the dad is just a straight up like brutal dude who you were like not to mess with. And the dude really is intimidating throughout the entire movie, even if he's not like a super buff dude. Like, you can just tell by looking at him, like, he's like, yeah, I will destroy you if you do look at me incorrectly. So I thought that was pretty good. There was some stuff with the son that felt a little bit off in the beginning, but they kind of rounded him off much, much better throughout the entire film because the older brother really feels ashamed that he let this happen to his sister. And I would say just in general, his overall character arc was almost as good, if not a little bit better than the dad's almost. So that part was good. I thought the music was pretty decent overall. The cinematography was pretty good overall. There's a really, really, really good scene that's just a standoff, a bunch of people with guns pointing at each other, and I thought it ended very well. Like, the tension was built really well. It was just an all-around really good scene. Although it really didn't take very long for there to be the first sign of trouble where a movie's like not going to be perfect. Because the second the older brother leaves the sister for like 2 seconds, you're like, oh, we know what's going to happen here. And on top of that, the way the dad converses with the police chief or the person that's in charge of the investigation, it just didn't sit well with me. And the way the dad hears what's going on over the cop's walkie-talkie is just so blatantly unprofessional and unrealistic that I was like, oh, really? Like, what is that? It just seemed careless and sloppy, and there was a few moments of that throughout the entire film. Part of it was with some of the action scenes. Like, it, again, felt a little bit sloppy and a little bit slow, to be honest with you. Like, I know the dad isn't meant to be quick and agile. He's meant to be, like, brutish and intimidating, but at the same time, it felt like it hindered some of the action because it felt just really, really slow to me for some reason. And it should also be noted that the dad is not super efficient at, like, accomplishing his goals, and he takes a lot of hits, and some of them are really, really needless. Like, you can kind of see him coming from a mile away. Not even just as an audience member. Like, you could visibly tell the dude could see an attack coming. Like, there's one instance where the dad sustains like a little baby wound, but it took like 10 seconds for the guy to come at him, and it was just like, dude, you had plenty of time to like block that or like move to the side. But the movie actually did have like a couple of good chase scenes in it, particularly the first car chase that you see. And it should be noted that this movie is in Italian, but if any of you have been following me for any amount of time, I'm all about the subtitles as opposed to the dubbed version, if there even is one, which I'm not sure. But even though I'm not familiar with the language, I did enjoy the acting performances for what, from what I can surmise from them. And they did a good job showing you that this dad really, really does care for his children. And they also did do a good job showing you that he is kind of methodical when he absolutely needs to be. And I also thought the music was good. And as far as the third act was concerned, I was actually pretty all right with it. I mean, the whole inconsistent like action scenes, that was still, you know, they kind of carried that over towards the end. However, I did like the way the third act was written and just the way that it was constructed and the way that it was edited and the pacing. It's like I said, there's a lot of good things about this movie that made it a fairly enjoyable watch. But as it stands, the movie did feel a little bit like a hooker, just, you know, a little bit too loose, you know what I'm saying? And the last thing I'll say about the movie is that I liked the way it looked. I liked the color palette they chose. I thought like the contrast, like everything visually about the movie was actually pretty all right. It was just dark and gritty enough to convey the tone, the exact tone that it wanted to give you. So I thought that was good. But anyway, guys, overall, it's a fairly decent movie. It wasn't a bad movie, but you know, there was a few things that were holding it back. So I would say overall, for a score out of 10, I think I'm gonna give it like a 6.8. If somebody asked me, I probably wouldn't want to watch it again, but if I got stuck in a room where it happened to be playing, I would be like, oh, there's a, you know, this one good scene is coming up. So, you know, it wasn't all bad. But anyway, guys, those are my thoughts. What are your guys' thoughts? Have you seen this movie? Have you even heard of it? Hop in the comments, let me know what's up. Other than that, if you like this review, give me a like, subscribe, share, hit the bell, do all the other usual YouTube-y type shenanigans, and I will catch you guys next time.